keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
Oh, forgot about that. Oh my God, I forgot about that. I had a brain fart. Oops, I forgot about that.
What you forgot, bro?
I forgot to put us back onto the screen. You know, you play the music and then you got nobody. You got nobody going on. You're like, who's talking in there? We're just gonna talk to the invisible man. No, but ladies and gentlemen, Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So comment, like, subscribe, or share. Or you can check out Clovercrest Media as well, as we got a special deal going on for all of those podcast lovers out there. So check it out. We got sports, we got murder mysteries, we got suspense, we got everything going on in Clovercrest Media. So check it out. It's a perfect time. I know people have been staying in and watching themselves as we are having a huge spike. We know what the past 2 years have been going on, ladies and gentlemen. We've something that will never be done again. It will never be replicated again. You can never be able to talk about this down the line with your kids because they're never going to believe what has transpired in the past 2 years. And what feels like, ladies and gentlemen, that yes, we are about to be a week before Christmas Eve. It feels like 2020 all over again in the sense of the recent spike of COVID-19 and how it's affecting not just society and the world, because we know it's been going on. There's no answer for it right now. We haven't been able to slow it down. It's just getting worse and worse. And with the spike comes now with the recent play, I should say, in NFL, NBA, and NHL games. This is not just happening in the NFL. I know we talk specifically about the NFL on the show a lot, but this has impacted the NBA, and this has big time impacted the NHL as well, as games have been canceled. The NBA has a bunch of teams have been dealing with and you got to think about this. NBA is different because of the fact that there's only 12 to 13 guys on a team. Some teams have to postpone games, cancel games, and forfeit games because they don't have enough players. Whereas the NFL, yes, they're losing a lot of players, but we still have 53 men on that team.
Yeah, but guess what? You can't have 20 players out.
Of course not.
I mean,
if you
have 10 players.
For a team like the Cleveland Browns this week, and we're going to talk about them in a little while too, a huge week for the NFL, a huge at stake. Saturday night games start. The last night game, we'll get into that. But we got to start off with what's going on in sports. And because it's a serious issue going on once again. It's back. It's rising. So how does, and I'm going to start with Joe on this, how should all professional leagues, not just the NFL, but how should all the professional leagues currently handle But actually, I want you to give me the breaking news right now before we get into this conversation. So if you want to, the floor is yours. I'll give it to Joe. Joe, take it away after that.
Yeah, I was just going to repeat what I was telling you before with the breaking news coming out of Adam Schefter. I mean, the guy's all over. I mean, listen, this is a real possibility, and it's already been spoke about with Canada eliminating fans and stands and people and everything and whatnot. But NFL and NFLPA discussing postponing multiple Week 15 games per source. As one source said, the league is getting pressure to move games. It makes total sense. It's the right thing to do, Trevor and Joe. I know we're going to talk about it. But when you have multiple guys, and I'm not saying 3-4 guys, and you said 53 guys, you got 20 guys out, you got 21 guys out, you got 16, you're on your practice squad quarterback, you're on your fifth center like Washington is. That is a severe problem and a liability, and it speaks volume to what's more important. Is it the money or is it the health and safety of your players?
Joe, take it away.
Well, it's the health and safety of your players, and I'll tell you what, too, ultimately, and I've talked about this before, and and this isn't an excuse for these people losing, but there was a big boxing upset recently and one in MMA, and both of those people, Teofimo Lopez, the boxer, and Amanda Nunes, the MMA goddess, had both tested positive and had COVID-19 and had their fights originally postponed, and then came back and looked like shells of themselves. So this is definitely affecting all sports, and the impact is obviously being felt around the country. My kids are actually home today in quarantine. They had to go. My kids just went and took tests yesterday. They were in contact with a classmate whose father and sister has it. And so they've got to be out for 10 days. And so, I mean, look, at this point, why everybody isn't just vaccinated is beyond me. A funny story. The daughter of the person who caused my daughter to be in quarantine said to my wife, I don't know how she could have gotten it. And my wife said, oh, is she vaccinated? And she said, no. And my wife texted back, well, that would have helped. So, I mean, even Kyrie Irving, I guess, is considering getting vaccinated at this point. You got to put your health first. This thing is to keep you healthy. It's to help you when you get COVID to not die from COVID or have it knock you for such a loop that, again, I've seen this so many times, you guys, again, doing throwing jabs Saturday mornings at 10. I can't tell you, dude, every single time a guy comes out or a gal goes out with COVID, it comes back, they lose. The stamina is gone. I think it's definitely, I mean, Gleyber Torres to me is another great example of a guy who got COVID and never got himself back on track to the way he was beforehand.
I mean, look at Cam Newton, another good example. Last year started off hot for the Pats, then got COVID, and then became something that he just became a backup quarterback. And it's just the way it is. Well, hold on. I was going to ask you both this. Should both the NFL, NBA, NHL consider, if they play games, should they consider what they did last year in the sense of maybe minimum capacity or no capacity at all in games?
It's not from the fans, bro.
Well, I'm not saying the fans, but I'm not saying it's from the fans. I'm just saying in the sense that it doesn't help. Especially with this recent spike that you're having, in some cases, 20,000, depending on the arena.
Here's the thing.
Sport, or in NFL, you're having 60 to 80,000 fans in a stadium.
Listen, there was 100,000 people in Michigan, and we didn't hear any spikes with the Michigan Wolverines team as they were jumping around with it. Here's the thing. Without making this a political thing, all right? Because every time you talk about this, it's always got to go to it's not a political thing. All right. I understand both sides.
It's a life thing. This is a life thing.
Listen, I understand.
You know what? Real quick, can I tell you why it's a political thing? 91% of Joe Biden voters are vaccinated and 60% of Republicans are vaccinated. There's a real huge, obvious differential that comes down to party lines, and it's foolish. It's absolutely foolish.
Are those on button, Joe, statistics? And I'm only asking that because, I mean, you know more and you follow.
It's in the New York Times yesterday. Yeah, the really thorough investigation.
How are they able to really tell? They don't go up and they say, are you Republican or Democrat when you take the shot? So how do they know the guy's Republican or Democrat?
So they can cross-reference. They can cross-reference people who are vaccinated with people who voted. And I can see public, your voting record is public.
See,
it's
here's
not
the thing.
It's a secret.
Now, when you stem back from this, this is what's crazy. See, this whole thing with the coronavirus drives me insane. I get it. It's real. Real people die. Our parents got it. Okay, whatever. They're fine. They didn't go to the hospital. My sister's unvaccinated. She didn't go. She was fine, but she dealt with some nothing crazy. What's crazy to me is, getting out of the personal stuff and going right with the sports, right? Odell Beckham, right? He was fine. He played in the Monday night game. The next day he tests positive. It just bewilders me how this whole thing, how it's working, what's going on, because I don't think it really gives it matter if you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, because
it really does matter.
Hold on, because majority of these teams are vaccinated. So what the hell's the difference? If majority of the team are 100% vaccinated.
It's helping you from going.
Listen, I get it.
If nobody was vaccinated at all in the NFL, they would have had to cancel about 3 weeks ago. The league would have been shut down, and nobody would be left.
I'd be surprised.
Hold on. You have multiple teams that are 100% vaccinated, if not close. Majority of the teams, if not all of them, I believe, are all over the 85% threshold. All right, and I think even more than 50% are at 90 to 95. If 95% of your people are vaccinated team, how can it be so widespread? You can't just blame it on the one guy who's unvaccinated, because there's vaccinated people giving it to vaccinated people. All right. The only difference with the vaccine, it's true, because don't say it doesn't happen.
I think it's the Antonio Browns of the world who are vaccinated and the Aaron Rodgers who were vaccinated, who are passing this thing along. Dude, let me tell you something.
Vaccinated people.
I'm fully vaccinated. I'm boosted. I wear a mask when I go out in public again because I'm just not interested in getting this.
And you know what?
It's not worth it. If I have to stand near disgusting people I don't know, I don't want to catch whatever you got.
But then,
it's as simple as that. This is only good. Listen, the longer we go through the BS and everybody wants to piss and moan about it, put a mask on, get a vaccine. We'll be over this in like 6 months.
Joe, you know you never get 100%.
You know that.
Joe, you know people.
But it's as simple as that. It's literally one of those things. There's a reason we don't have measles outbreaks in this country. We were all vaccinated as children. It's one of the first vaccinations you got when you were a baby.
Here's the ultimate thing, though. Back in the day, people don't like to be told what to do nowadays with anything. And that's what it ultimately comes down to, this whole situation. Yeah, should we all get vaccinated? Possibly, yes, maybe. But everybody has their choice of it. But still, nowadays, in the world that we live in, the society, the entitled society that we have nowadays.
Who decides a medical thing like that's a choice? That's the what you just said is the ultimate hypocritical statement. You are so entitled that you think you'll get COVID and it won't affect anybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
You couldn't be more wrong. No. And so many people have your same attitude. That's the reason this is going on. That's the reason we're going through the whole thing all over again. And that we're probably going to have to see one or both of these leagues shut down probably the week of Christmas or the week after. And that's a real shame.
Now, going back to the original question and getting off the craziness with coronavirus is, the leagues have to make what's best decision for the players, because if you have no players, you have no games, which means you make no money. And let's be honest, we're sports fans. This is what we're talking about. No one wants to watch the G League basketball team play against another team, because you can't field a basketball team because half the team is under coronavirus. The same thing with the football games this weekend. The Browns will have a humongous game this weekend. To tell me that you're going to put the third-string quarterback because the backup on Thursday tested positive, good luck in less than 48 hours to get ready for a game, and you got 20 players out. That's not a fair advantage. Now, you could say, well, hey, listen, there's protocols, there's this and that. It's just not. You can't put that product on the field, because what you're telling me as an NFL owner, and that the game and putting it on TV at 4:30 is more important to make the money, because if you change it, the loss of revenue is not good for business. No, you know what's not good for business? Putting a team out there that doesn't belong on the field because 20 players have coronavirus, and there's more likely that because of the game, it could spread even more to other players, and now you're affecting teams down the road.
Can I tell you why this has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with money? Do you guys remember August 6th, 1979? That was the day the New York Yankees buried Thurman Munson. Oh. And they had petitioned Major League Baseball to postpone their game against the Baltimore Orioles that night. And baseball said no. And, of course, the Yankees went on to have the Bobby Mercer game. Never mind. I'll cry. Point is, this always comes down to money. This has nothing to do with politics. This has everything to do with they don't want to lose money.
Yes.
And so, rather than push the idea of vaccinations, it's that same, like, you got to placate everybody. The only way to do this was to get 100% participation from your players. If they're not all in, then you don't do it. That's it. Just don't do it. Just shut it all down. To me, it's not worth it. Playing fantasy this year sucks. Anybody enjoying fantasy football this year?
Well, I mean, I'm in the playoffs.
I saw your record. You can't be enjoying it.
Well,
Dude, I'm in 4 leagues, and it's constant. I got to who's got COVID this week? Not fun.
Oh, we have
not fun at all.
Your wife doesn't want you to cry.
This is idiotic. This is so stupid. We shouldn't even be dealing with this at all. But this is selfish, entitled, stupid people that are confusing choice with responsibility.
And think about this, Joe. You got fantasy football, right? Like, I'm in fantasy. I got the playoffs this week, right? I'm in the quarterfinals. Your whole team. I mean,
your whole team's on the bench. Dude, I got Lockett, I got Harris, I got Hopkins. Everybody's out.
And here's the other thing: if they postpone the game, right, and your team
doesn't play Darrell Williams last night, 2 rushes for 5 yards. Oh, I love this.
Well, here's the thing: if games get
They're
moved,
ruining everything.
if the games get moved, it's going to affect your fantasy team because is that going to play? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they cancel the game,
So
right?
hold on, let me ask you that.
How do you?
So what's the best thing? What's the best thing for these leagues to try to
shut it down? I would say shut it down through Christmas and come back the week after. All of them.
No,
just shut it down. Shut it down. Get everybody tested. They're going to need to clean all those facilities that everybody's been in. Keep them quarantined between now and Christmas. Come back NBA like Christmas Day, and you'll be fine. But I think this is only going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
I would have said one thing: the NFL should have had a built-in bye week somewhere in the field, and not for any individual teams, but for the league. So if they did have a situation where they had to do this, you have the opportunity to say, you know what, we're going to cancel all games week 15. We're going to move them to next week. It's not going to affect the season. Everyone's going to go in a full kind of condensed globe thing. We'll clean everything up. We'll give everyone a week off to stay quarantined. So you get everyone back on track because we're off track. You know what I mean? And now the NFL is changing the rules where, hey, listen, if you test positive and you can come back beforehand, depending on what was it? I forget what the medical word was, but depending on what the level of coronavirus you have, like the high levels, there's a spike with the blood cells that you can come back in a shorter notice and still be positive and play the game. Depending on that was some of the rules. That's
a great idea. I mean, again, that's placating ignorance. Yeah, if you have kind of corona, you can come back. No, what?
Let's see.
What? Why? Why?
My thing is that it'd be for the NBA and NHL. I could see that happening. For the NFL right now in the situation that they're in currently, coming down to playoff time. I just think because of scheduling, TV, money, like we just said.
Exactly the reasons.
It ultimately comes down to the money and why the NFL, I mean, they have to strongly consider it because right now this is not going away. It's spiking everywhere and it's impacting teams and not just teams that are like, we're not talking about teams that are out of the playoffs or that are in the bottom of the league right now. We're talking about teams that are trying to make the playoffs, like teams like the Browns, teams like the Rams. And I know there's going to be more teams. There's a copious amount of players around this league since the beginning of Monday that have been put on the COVID list. And we're not just talking about also mid-major player. We're talking about impactful players.
By the way, DraftKings, you're not getting any of my money this weekend. I'm not betting on any of that garbage. I have no idea who's playing. I have no idea what kind of outcomes to expect. I'm not doing it. I'm not betting $1 this weekend. Not $1. Not worth it. I'm not betting on Casey Keenum.
Joe, I got you a bet.
Kyle Lauletta.
Joe, I got to bet you can't lose. Just take Dallas on the field against the Giants on Sunday.
Because the Giants will win or something.
No, they're not. Mike Glennon's starting a quarterback. It's an automatic loss.
Well, talking about gambling, there's a guy
has 2 career wins. Don't forget that.
6.
He's got 6 career wins.
I think only 2 were starts though.
6. He's got 6 career wins. He was 6-22 before he started with the Giants this season.
Guys,
but were they all starts? I thought he was like only 2.
Yes, because don't forget he started for the Bears. He started for Tampa for a whole season, and probably some other teams that we don't remember.
Joe, you just said gambling. Well, there's a guy out in LA that takes a lot of chances, and we saw it firsthand again last night and multiple times. We're not just talking about one case.
Hey, did you just see Robbie Clark's thing? Sorry to cut you off. Did you see?
No, I'm trying to just get to
Browns Raiders just moved to Monday night. Seahawks Rams being discussed to move to Tuesday.
Because we don't have nothing else going on those nights.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I was listening to before I get into the game last night. Colin Cowherd, I was listening. He had Albert Breer, and even with the people that are vaccinated and when they get COVID, they're out for 10 days. So does it really make a difference between Saturday and Monday or Tuesday? All these players that are getting COVID-19, they're ultimately being out for the time frame that the NFL is given. They're not just staying out for a day or two. They're out for 10 days. So
no.
Albert Breer just said it. You're going to tell me that Albert Breer?
Yeah, they changed the things where
I know, but Albert Breer just
if they're asymptomatic, they can come back before the timeline.
I was saying that most of the time when the players are getting COVID this year, they're usually out for the 10 days.
Depending if you're vaccinated or not, too.
Yes, but even with the vaccinated players, too. Even vaccinated
But if you're vaccinated, you can come back sooner than
vaccinated players.
Yeah, but if you're vaccinated, you can come back sooner than 10 days if you have double negatives.
Yes, I know that. I understand that. I was just
Which
saying
also helps you to tell somebody like Logan Ryan not vaccinated is obviously
No, Logan Ryan's vaccinated.
No, he can't be. Dude, he missed 2 games.
Logan Ryan's fully vaccinated.
I don't think so.
No, I'm serious. I saw that he's fully vaccinated. Trust me. He's fully vaccinated. So. I talked to him last week. I was like, "Hey, how'd it feel getting beat on that 3rd and 11 against?"
Can I tell you something? You know what's crazy though? Not to beat this drum up, but majority of the players that are testing positive are vaccinated players.
And where do you think they got it from?
Vaccinated players.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure all the vaccinated players are passing it along.
Most of the league is vaccinated.
I don't blame the unvaccinated guys that they're the only problem because
most of the players are vaccinated.
If they were all vaccinated, there would be like one guy out a week is the difference. Again, that's the difference between a huge outbreak. Again, if this thing has nowhere to go, then it's not going to get spread.
No, didn't you know there's new variants every day because they just make stuff up.
We're going to be having variants for the next 30 years.
No, it's going to be here forever.
I don't think scientists make stuff up, generally speaking.
I think scientists make up a lot of things.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Because it's money driven.
Anything about science?
Because it's money driven.
Does any of us know anything about science?
It's money driven.
Yes, scientists do. Do you know?
I'm talking about us three. I'm talking about us three. Do we know about science?
Yeah.
No, not talking about reading.
It's about money. Because they get
I know an FDA medically
approved
vaccine safe.
Yeah.
Just like the measles one I took 46 years ago. No side effects.
Joe, did you see they got the new measles outbreak? Did you see that on the news?
Let's get off.
Swear to God.
Again, there's because there you go. That's those anti-vaxxers that think I shouldn't have to give my kid the measles. They don't even have it anymore. You know why you don't get the measles anymore? Because of the vaccine. Bunch of hippy dippy idiots. Don't get your kid the measles. Watch how quick we bring that back. You want to bring back polio? Should we stop giving people the polio vaccine? Idiots.
Hey, did you see with this vaccination, they might come up with a vaccination for cancer. Swear to God, I saw it on Yahoo yesterday.
That's the vaccination that we desperately need.
Yeah, but you know what? Anybody who won't take this one, sorry, you don't get that one either. You don't get that one either. You don't trust them, right?
No super.
You don't know. If you don't know what's in it, you can't put it in your body. So enjoy.
For cancer, I want that. That's what I want. I want the vaccination for cancer.
Well, you'd be a hypocrite again.
Absolutely. But I've been saying it for years. I want people to get because cancer sucks.
Nobody likes cancer. Nobody likes COVID. Nobody likes the flu.
Everybody likes COVID,
cancer's not contagious. You can't give other people cancer. That's the cool part.
I don't know what kind of word this is. Your wife just came up with a new word, Joe. I don't know what that is, but
listen, you should be happy my wife is watching.
Whoa, taking shots. It's because she doesn't want you to
she hates sports.
My
wife is stuck home today, also quarantined because there's a big outbreak at her office. Amongst guess who? The unvaccinated. Usual.
Hold on. Watch how fast she's going to get off from watching us because now we're going to get back to talking football because we're not talking COVID. But you said a couple minutes ago about gambling and stuff like that and taking all-in chances. Well, the Chargers head coach, Brandon Staley, it seems like he's become the king of taking chances and going for it on 4th down this season. It has worked at times. We'll give him that. But in a situation like last night, where you have points on the board that you have an opportunity, and by the way, it's 6 points taken off because you decided to go for it. You lost by 6. Wow. What could have happened, what could have been for the LA Chargers last night? So we talked about this team for years now. It's always been can't finish, can't do this, bad quarterback play, the talent, it's all there. Coaching, bad coaching. But is this their greatest weakness? Is it the aggressiveness, the play calling, this play style of Brandon Staley that has become the Chargers' greatest weakness? Now, I know they got a bad rush defense, but You think about these conversions and the amount of times they've been going for it. Hell, why have Dustin Hopkins last night? Just go home, take a seat, and hang out with your wife and have some beers, because that was his day last night at the office. He didn't do anything.
He kicked one.
Okay, kicked one extra
Ted,
point. But
Ted,
is this killing the Chargers?
Ted, you can go first, but let me just make one point on everything you just said about the Chargers and everyone who you blamed except for. The other night, Lamar Jackson, they went for 2. He threw the ball to Mark Andrews. And, Andrews should have laid out and caught it. They should have kicked the field goal. The offensive line could have blocked better. Maybe could have ended, whatever, right? I heard everybody and everything was to blame. And I didn't hear too many people say, if Lamar could throw like a top-flight quarterback, we wouldn't have had that conversation.
I know where he's going.
And so maybe just a little bit, this Chargers thing, a little bit. I just, if you could admit a little bit, maybe Justin Herbert's got to execute better in crucial moments.
Not even close. Here's the thing. He did execute last night. No one's, here's the thing. We're forgetting Mahomes too. Remember, they went on multiple 4th downs and made bad throws too. Everyone forgets that. Here's where we've talked about this tirelessly in baseball. Analytics.
Me and Joe's favorite word.
Analytics last night told them that you should go for it on 4th down. Joe, I think you, me, and Trev, to a certain point, maybe more so you and me, that analytics are an important part of the game. In all games. You want to use the numbers. Listen, in every sport, you want to use every advantage that you can get, all right? If it says, listen, the majority of the time, it's better to go for it. Herbert played well last night. Mahomes played well, too. They both had multiple mistakes. Last night was a very sloppy game. Last night was not a
Hold on. Slow down for 1 minute, because you like Justin Herbert a lot. Pat Mahomes was 31 for 47 for 410 yards and 3 touchdowns. They both threw a pick last night. His QBR rating was 24 points higher, and his rating overall was 23 points higher. You're acting like they played on par with each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Wasn't even close.
They ran for 200 yards, Joe, the Chargers. You didn't have to do that. The Chiefs don't run the football.
I'm talking quarterback for quarterback. You're acting like they were on par. To suggest that Mac Jones and Josh Allen were on par the other night would be a gross understatement, yes?
Well, here's the thing. Go look at all the drops the Chargers had last night. Go look at the drops the Chiefs had. None.
Again, it's everybody's fault, but it's not ever Justin Herbert's fault.
Last night? Joe, you watched the game, right? Okay, first drive, the Chargers go down on 3rd and goal. He hits him in the hands, right?
Yeah.
Mike Williams drops the ball. That's not Herbert's fault. He hit him in a good spot, too. Hit him between the 5 fingers. What did he do on 4th down when they went for it? Hit him in the hand. Now, I'm sorry the guy got hurt. Catch the ball. That's what your job is as a receiver, catch the ball. Because if it was Darius Slayton, when Daniel Jones put the ball in his hand, we didn't blame Daniel Jones. We blamed Darius Slayton for not catching the ball, because if it hits your hands, the old saying, if it touches your fingers, you're supposed to catch the ball. They missed an opportunity. Should have kicked the field goal there. Should have kicked the field goal at the end of the half when you're up 14-10. You go up 7. I understand the analytics say it's 4th and goal. You put the ball in the quarterback's hand. Because here's the thing. I think Andy Reid would have done the same thing. The problem when I think a lot of these coaches is when you got a guy like Justin Herbert, right? You got a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You got a guy like Tom Brady. You fall into that position where, like, listen, I have the quarterback. Why would I not want to put the ball in his hand? Like Rodgers last year when it's 4th and goal and they decided to kick the field goal. And everyone's like, why didn't you go for it? You have Aaron Rodgers. I think Brandon Staley looks at Herbert and goes, I got Justin Herbert. He can make all the throws. He makes all the plays. He does make the plays. He had Keenan Allen in the middle of the thing. Kick the 2 field goals right there. There's 6 points. All right. Then they get down later in the thing. Middle of the field. Could have gone for a 46-yard field goal. They go for it again. Incomplete. Kick the field goal. There's 9 points. If one of those guys catches a touchdown pass, the game's different. The Chargers should have won that game by double digits. It shouldn't have even been close. The game should have never been close. Here's the thing. Great defensive call on the 4th and goal late in the half. Daniel Sorensen comes off the end. I don't know why more teams don't do this, because you know what they're going to do. They run the trips. The 2 guys run the slant. You run the rub route underneath. He catches the ball right on the goal line. Easy touchdown.
It feels like that's the bread and butter play in the goal line situation.
He's wide open.
Yeah.
He completes that pass at 7 points. We think here's the problem. We always look at the negative. When it doesn't work, it's a bad call. When it works, it's like, great call. That's what it is. They should have kicked the field goals. Never take the points off the board early in the game. You don't want to chase points because if you just kick the 2 field goals early in the game, it's 20-10 at half. You're going in with all the momentum after being down, whatever.
So let me ask you this question: this tendency to go for it on 4th down. Why do you think that is? What do you think? There you go.
It's like
they're doing it because they think he could convert, and then he doesn't. He was 6 for 13 on 3rd down, 2 for 5 on 4th down. In a game against the Chiefs, you're going to lose that game every single time.
And if it's Daniel Jones, you kick the field goal. That's the thing. You got Justin Herbert. You have Tom Brady. You're in Aaron Rodgers. Now, here's my thing. Would you say the same thing if it was Mahomes? Would you blame Mahomes if he was 2 for 5?
I blamed Mahomes when they were 4-4.
So, listen.
And again, I understand half those interceptions aren't his fault, but then stop throwing to the guys that aren't catching the ball.
I would also
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, listen, it's successful quarterback. I mean, we don't ever have this conversation about Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady too aggressive? We don't have to have that conversation because Tom converts, and he has for 21 years.
Brandon Staley cost his team the game last night. Not his play, and I'll say the defense too, because you can't give up with Tyreek and Kelsey. I don't understand this, but those are the only 2 guys.
Well, Mahomes had 400. Mahomes had
418 yards passing. 210 of them were yak yards, which means yards after catch.
Yeah,
Kelsey had the 2 big. He had the touchdown to win the game, the walk-off, which 6 guys had an opportunity to tackle him, couldn't tackle him, and then he had the long 67-yard run, which set up the other touchdown when they went for
my thing is, it's always great to be aggressive. I like the aggressive style of play calling, but in a situation like that, when you have multiple opportunities, not just once, it's okay if you want to go one time. If you're at like the 40-yard line, I understand.
Dude, right? I mean,
this is a
game. This
is
a game for the division.
It's a must win because you got to take in consideration too. They already won the game in Kansas City earlier this year. So you win this game, you're both 9-5. You have you have complete control of this division now because you have the season sweep, and you thought too much with your head in the sense of your ego. I know Brandon Staley. Look, I like Brandon Staley. I think he's going to be a fantastic, fantastic coach for a long time in this league, whether it's with the Chargers or anybody else. But in a situation like this, where look, you got to take the points. Points are points. That's still a positive. I like the play calling.
What arrogance too by that team. Again, you're playing.
I mean, he's done it. You got to think he's done it multiple times in his own territory too. Like he's done it. I think it was against Dallas, or I forgot who he was.
No, it was like Denver in his own 30-yard line.
And he did it multiple times.
I just think it's funny, dude. Like Mike McCarthy gets ripped for making these same kind of mistakes. This guy seems to skate. And again, when it comes to the Ravens with Harbaugh, nobody criticized him for doing it.
What makes it worse in that situation is that they have one of the greatest kickers of all time.
Yeah,
he's an automatic 3 points. No matter where the hell you want to kick from it, it's like he's an automatic. So that's what makes it tougher. I know the kicking woes of Chargers history has been on display for some time.
Those were chip shots. Those are not even extra points.
It's never a chip shot. Never know.
No. Those are chips.
But my thing is, this is a talented team. This is a team that could go far into the playoffs because they have the talent, they have the quarterback, they got the coach that believes in the quarterback. They have good chemistry. They have the pieces on offense, they have the pieces on defense. But in a situation like this, in a game like this, where right now you're slated to make the playoffs, you're going to have situations like this, and you're going to be playing on the road. Sometimes you just got to take the points.
I'll tell you this, on the road, you definitely take the points.
Here's another thing. We bash Joe Judge the countless amount of times because of his conservative ways. Sometimes it's okay, Brandon Staley, to be conservative and take the points. Not all the time. It's okay to be aggressive, but in a situation like last night, you got to take advantage of the points.
Here's my other thing, right? You're the Giants, and what are they, 4-8 or whatever they are now?
4 and a million.
Doesn't even matter. They have every reason to gamble. The Giants would have every reason to go for it on 4th and 1 from their own 10 against the Cowboys this week. Who cares if you lose? You might as well go for it.
You're playing spoiler, Joe. You're playing spoiler.
You're playing spoiler. So, for me, listen, I think, again, and I'm not blaming all of this on Justin Herbert. I'm just saying Justin Herbert has to share in the responsibility. Again, the fact that he's Justin Herbert is the reason they're as aggressive as they are. He's got to convert more.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I agree with that.
Plain and simple. But they definitely have to get a little more conservative on that. That's playing it. I mean, fast and loose. That's it's refreshing in the NFL, but you can't when you leave the winning points on the board.
Joe,
you miscoached.
Joe, I can understand in the late.
No, you're overthinking. You're overthinking, Joe, because it's like baseball with the analytics. You're overthinking it now.
Yeah.
Once you start thinking it, it's going to take over your mind, and it's going to. Sometimes it works out and pays off for you. Sometimes it kicks you back in the ass because of those overthinking. And we talked about it with Aaron Boone. And
here's the thing: it's momentum. Because if anyone watched the game last night, you watched the end of the half. The Chiefs were down. They ran into their locker room thinking they were up by 2 touchdowns. The Chargers walked off like we're defeated, and they had the lead. That's why if you kick the field goal, just keep the momentum going. You were down 10-0. You're up 7 going into half. Your defense has done very well. Herbert and the offense were running the football and doing enough to control the game. You had everything because you got to understand, points are momentum.
Yep.
I know 7 always looks better. 7, common sense. But take what you can get. Guys like Bill Belichick, and I guarantee you, if they did a poll last night, 30 out of 32 coaches probably would have taken the field goals. There probably been 1 or 2 coaches that would have went for it. A guy like Andy Reid, because he would have said, I got Mahomes. I got a great play. I'll run Tyreek Hill and Kelsey on him. A crossing route. They won't be able to guard it. I'll get it. That's the difference when you execute and don't execute. Herbert didn't play well enough. We said it the other day. He had to match Mahomes or play better. I thought he played just as well as Mahomes. If you watch the game,
he played well, but Mahomes.
And I'll put it this way: the game was sloppy as hell. Both teams were sloppy. There was a lot of mishaps. The Chargers should have won the game. They ran for if you've run for over 200 yards and you rush. If you pass for over 200 yards, you should win the game. But your defense missed too many tackles. You let too many big plays with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They both had over 150 yards. They both had a touchdown each. Kelce had 2. He had 41 points in fantasy last night.
Two things.
Jesus.
2 things that I want to finish off with. Mahomes, Herbert played well. Mahomes played great when he needed to be. And that's why they won. And that's why the Chargers right now are now in second place and don't have full control of it. Second thing I want to say, Brandon Staley's the guy you hate playing in Madden because he's a guy that is always going for it on 4th down, even if it's a 4th and a mile, and just punt the ball. But nope. Yeah, because I feel like we go for it all the time in that. When it's 4th and 1, and you're at the 2-yard line, I'm gonna ask you both because you both played video games before. Are you running it? Are you going for it? Or are you kicking the field goal in Madden?
What's the score?
Tell you something. Back in the old days,
it's the score last night.
Hold on. The best update they've ever done to Madden was when they made 4th down hard.
Yes,
when they made it more difficult. I'll put it to you like this, Trevor. I'm not playing a season of Madden right now, but I do have a franchise going. I'm playing in South Carolina, taking over the SEC.
Wait, what happened?
Building them into a national powerhouse. Long story. The file got corrupted, but so.
Well, and here's the other thing: they gave him a new contract. There was a new contract he had.
I couldn't say no to SEC money.
The South Carolina Gamecocks with Spencer Rattler, the new and improved set. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can't believe your file got corrupted. That's terrible.
Anyway, yeah, my punter's in the running for the Ray Guy Award.
Wow,
as the nation's best punter. Yeah, I'm really good at pinning.
Joe is Joe Judge. He punts the ball all the time. He's Joe Judge. I'm starting to realize that.
Listen, I'll go for it on 4th down if I'm at the 45 or the 50 because I feel like I can still hold you to a field goal. Anything closer than that, I'm 46. When I was 25, I would have gone for it on 4th and 30 from the 5.
You're a conservative old man.
I would have done it.
You're a sophisticated man now.
I've learned. You know what? I've smashed enough controllers to bits to know that you don't go for it on 4th and 30 from your own 5 in the Super Bowl. I won't do that again.
Wait, you've done that before? That's not good. That's not good. I know me and Ted that's what I'm saying. If it's 4th and 1 and it's the score last night and you're playing in Madden, are you going for it or are you kicking the field?
I already know the play I'm running.
So you're going for it. So we shouldn't be bashing Brandon Staley for going for it.
I also would like to announce my kicker hit a 57-yarder It's one of the longest field goals I've kicked on either Madden or NCAA in my life.
Would you have 12-mile-an-hour
57
wind behind your back?
with the wind, but 14 miles an hour left too.
Did you have rain too? Did you make it was it a monsoon?
Oh, it was a terrible game. Yeah, it was a big rainstorm in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, it was a hurricane. I just keep adding to it, Joe. Make the story even more believable.
I'm not even joking. It was a huge rainstorm against Arkansas. I beat them 31-28, number 4 in the country.
Wow.
And I'm building, and nailed it.
I want to play you.
I would love to.
We should make this happen. We should try to make this.
The mistake you're going to make is you're going to go for it on 4th down and fail, and then you're going to the tide's going to turn, and I'm going to beat you by a touchdown. We're going to video this, Joe.
We're going to video it.
We have to get this going.
We'll time with the video on Instagram. We'll time hop it so make it go real quick.
Well, you're going to have to wait until at least Monday because I did just destroy a controller yesterday.
Oh my God, Joe, why? Thought you were winning.
I had a great run down the field, and all of a sudden, there's my controller, the button got a little sticky or something. I don't know what happened, but my running back, and he just suddenly pitched the ball.
Stop eating food while you're playing the game.
Yeah, it can't be.
My running back was on like a 30-yard run and just suddenly stopped, and he pitched the ball back. I didn't press that button. So that controller is clearly broken.
Broke the controller? I don't think I've ever broken a controller. I've had moments that
I dropped it on the ground, and I looked at it, and I thought, there's something wrong with it. And then I stomped it 6 times into bits.
You know what the worst is, Joe? When I had an old NCAA dynasty, and I hadn't lost a game in 6 years, and I accidentally hit simulate. I accidentally simulated the game. I go, no! And I lost. And and you can't go back. You can't be like, oh, I tried to shut the system down and think it would forget the game. And it kept it. I go.
Well, speaking of teams, you just said not losing games and stuff. There's 3 teams right now. A huge weekend going on. Saturday night football, ladies and gentlemen. We have Saturday football, so let's rest and let's enjoy it because we got some great games this week. Even though, no, the Browns game is not playing, so the Browns is officially postponed to 2. If that's the breaking news, according to Robbie Clark.
Yeah, but New England, that is a fact. New England, Indy, though, is
Damian Harris is now out, too.
Damian Harris. All right. So Browns and Raiders just moved to Monday.
You know why Damian Harris is out?
Why?
Yeah, because he's vaccinated. Yeah, because he's vaccinated.
No, I wasn't going to even go there because he's on my team. He's on like 3 of my fantasy
I have him on my team, too.
That's why he's out.
Okay, so the Browns game is going to be played not tomorrow. You only have 1 game tomorrow, and it's still a huge game. Implications, AFC picture right now. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed currently in the AFC, and there's a team in Indianapolis that's trying to get into that playoff position right now. So the 3 teams that we have, and we can add maybe the Baltimore Ravens or the Denver Broncos, 2 teams that have huge games as well. Who needs to win the most? We'd only put the Bengals, Colts, and Browns, but like I said, we can add in the Ravens, and we can add in the Broncos, 2 teams that are been up and down recently, but are still vying to try to get into the playoffs. So I will start off with Joe. Joe, who needs to win most as the season inches closer to playoff football?
I would say probably one of the Bengals or Browns, and only because I think being in the same division and seeing the games that are coming up between them, the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, and Steelers, that's a tough division right now. I think if you're the Colts, I think if you lost this weekend and you dropped to 7-7, I don't think you're necessarily hitting the panic button.
Can I break stones for a second?
Yeah.
I'm just reading this from a verified source on Twitter right now. This kind of goes to what my argument goes against yours, Joe. The NFL is 95% vaccinated. The NBA is 97% vaccinated. The NHL is nearly 100% vaccinated. All 3 leagues are still overwhelmed with COVID cases and hitting new COVID highs. So how is Joe Biden arguing vaccinations will end COVID? The Pro Sports League proved that 100% lie.
You've got all sorts of people surrounding these teams if the players are vaccinated, that doesn't mean spouses are. It doesn't mean children are. You guys see in
Hell,
in
even
a
the
home.
even people in the area could just
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be players.
I was just in a restaurant the other night where a waiter told me he wasn't vaccinated and he wasn't wearing a mask. So
Was he your waiter?
He was not my waiter.
Oh.
And I didn't stay much longer. So yeah, again, this thing's being passed around by the unvaccinated. 90% of cases that are of people in the hospital right now are unvaccinated. And almost 100% of the people that are dying right now are unvaccinated. So, I mean, I'd be happy to sit here all day and talk about this. But if you talk to scientists and doctors, they'll tell you that it's pretty clear. You need to wear a mask if you're going to be close to people, even if you're indoors, and you should get vaccinated.
Ted,
simple as that.
Ted, what do you think of this statement? I want you to say it.
It's over for everyone involved. I'll tell you.
He has a point. They are getting dangerous. They got
right now there's 3 games they're talking about being discussed. So the Browns-Raiders game is probably getting moved to Monday.
Okay.
The Eagles-Washington game is possibly right now is going to get moved till 7:00 p.m. on Tuesday night.
Wow.
And the other one is the Rams-Raiders. The Rams
Seahawks.
Raiders-Brown moved to Monday, while Seahawks-Rams and football team Eagles are expected to move to Tuesday, per Adam Schefter.
Okay.
And it said, had the games been canceled, players would not have gotten paid. Now, what kind of stuff is that?
It's exactly what you think it is. It's about money.
Well, how do the players not get paid? It's not their fault. I mean, how you like
right.
Joe,
It's a very contagious disease that's being passed around. It's not anybody's fault to get it unless you're unvaccinated and you don't wear a mask, and then you're asking for it.
So what's going to be like last year? This is going to be the best week of the season. We're going to have football the week of Christmas all week long. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, bowl games, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I just wish I didn't have to watch who's starting in Cleveland?
Right now it's Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins. I see they just signed Kyle Lauletta today as well. I can't wait to watch Kyle Lauletta and Jake Fromm square off in a game in the NFL.
Joe,
only in the COVID era of the NFL could that happen.
But with the change in game scheduling, because of the new rules and protocols that the NFL put in, there is a possibility for multiple players from both teams to be able to get back, even though they tested positive, because of the extra days, the negatives.
Because they're vaccinated, they can come back quicker. So that's nice that they weren't selfish and that they did what they needed to do for team.
So, Ted, let me ask you this question. Let's get back to this.
Talk to me. Sorry, I was getting
I just got the Colts. The Colts are, I think, in the worst trouble with a loss.
I got an email from the director of my building about an interview process for a job I applied for. So sorry, I was looking at it, just kind of popped up.
Well, great.
Congratulations.
I'll get you off the show. Go. Good luck. See you later. Take you off the show. Go take your calls.
It's not a call, you idiot. It's an email. And who needs to win? It's the Colts.
Sandra just said Seahawks and Rams and Eagles game just got rescheduled, so that's
okay.
official.
So they got moved to Tuesday. Here's the answer to the question. For me, it's easy. It's the Colts. Because I look at the 3 teams, who's got the best team? Or
also take in consideration if you want the Broncos and the Ravens too.
I'm not even thinking about them, right? This is the question I posted. These are the 3 teams. It's the Colts for me. Because of the 3 teams, the Colts give me the best chance to give a Super Bowl run. The other 2 teams, I still think I don't trust Baker Mayfield and the Browns, and I told you this. They got too many issues they got too many skeletons in their closet. All right. And every time they try to do the right thing, the closet kind of sneaks open like Dracula in the movies. It kind of opens up, okay? And the Bengals, they're in a rebuild year. We did not expect it from the Bengals this year. Joe Burrow has been sacked more times than anyone in this league, 41 times going into this weekend. They still have issues. Their defense has not played par.
Good thing they got him Jamar Chase and not Slater.
Or Penny Sewell.
Or Sewell, yeah, for that matter.
But guess what? They got Ginger Jesus.
There it is. The second time you've seen a Ginger Jesus before. Who's the first one? The Brian Forrester.
That was Jack Sewell. So here's the thing.
I know.
Carson Wentz for me is a prove it game. They were up 21 to 7 or 3 against Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago, and because of Carson Wentz's poor play in the second half, Tampa Bay came back and up to winning. They have a solid offensive line. They have a great running back. They have a really good defense. The question has always been, could the quarterback get them over the hump? This is a game where both teams are coming off a bye. Bill Belichick always takes away what you do great. What do the Colts do well? And they run the football really well. What do the Patriots do really well? They stop the run. They also play great in the pass defense. So I think they're going to stack the box, make Jonathan Taylor's life hell, which sucks for me for fantasy because I have him for fantasy. And he's going to say, Carson Wentz, go beat me. And to me, and I think to everyone else, it's going to be like what we talked about with Matthew Stafford and other games that we've talked about. Prove a game. Are you worth the money? Why did we trade for you? Why did we give up draft picks to go get Carson Wentz out of Philly? Because we thought you were better than what we had or what we could get, and we thought you could take us to the Super Bowl. This team could be a Super Bowl team considering how poor they started. If Carson Wentz and the Colts can win this game at home and beat the Patriots and knock the Patriots off their winning streak, it's a prove-it game and it's a momentum game, and it's something that we might look back in the end of January and go, remember that game against New England home? Why the Colts are in the AFC Championship game? It's because of that game, and it could spur them into a Super Bowl run if they win. If not, and they lose and Carson Wentz plays like crap, we're going to say, well, I told you so. So that's why.
Yeah, by the way, listen, if he loses this game in New England, he's
it's home. It's home. So
I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm literally looking at their schedule, and I forgot. It says versus Patriots, and I was looking at the Patriots thing. Yeah, you're right. Look, if you beat the Patriots this week, you really need to, because next week you're spending Christmas Day at Arizona. So if you lose this week, you're going to be 7-8. And that's a real problem in the AFC. So Colts.
I 100% agree with you, Ted. Colts, this is easy. The Colts have to win just because of their schedule remaining. And this is, to me, the most talented team of the three left right now. I know the Browns have great talent, but they're dealing with many, many of issues, whether it's injuries, whether it's COVID, whether it's the Baker Mayfield dilemma that's going on right now. The Bengals, great season so far. Hell, they could still win the AFC North. We thought this was 2 years away from maybe a rebuild, maybe a year or so, but they're playing well. We'll see what happens against them, a huge game. But this is all on the Colts. This is a team that we thought you made for Carson Wentz, like the Matthew Stafford move. And now we projected them to be maybe a dark horse Super Bowl contender out of the AFC. They haven't played up to par. They are starting to get better each and every week. Defensively, they got a stout defense. That's going to be a great battle. And then you got the best running back in football right now, and one of the top MVP candidates in Jonathan Taylor, who's been carrying this team literally to victories. This should be a hell of a game, a great old rivalry that needs to be back, because this was one of the better rivalries for some time back about 10 years ago, past 20 years, I would say. This should be a great game because it's got these two teams are very similar. Great defenses, great running attacks. It's just which quarterback makes the play. Is it Wentz or is it going to be Mac Jones? That's what I think it comes down to, because you got two great coaches too. Frank Wright, hell of a coach. We already know what Belichick brings to the table. This comes down to me, Wentz against Mac Jones. That's what it comes down to. Can Mac Jones continue to find ways to get the ball to his receivers and get the ball into the end zone and play at a high level? Don't cause any turnovers. And Wentz, very talented, but can he not make the turnover where we've seen him do it throughout his career and especially this year in big moments? That's, for me, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the quarterbacks. I know we talk about it all the time, but specifically, this is a huge deal for both quarterbacks. Anyway, no. Okay, we're quiet. We're very quiet. It's very, very rare to see us all quiet at once.
Yeah, no. Sander just put up a thing. First time these teams play without Brady or Peyton on the field.
Yeah,
it's like 99.
That's crazy? What I'm saying. It's good. This is an old rivalry that was like one of the two. These are two of the best teams for the past 20 years in the AFC. I need to see that again because.
Well, and if I may interrupt, there's a lot of, you remember the storyline. Josh McDaniels took the head coaching job for about 5 minutes.
Oh, of course, and then
jumped ship.
Yeah,
remember, and went back to New England for the offensive coordinator job. So there's a lot of underlying things that go on with this. The two franchises too. It's not just Brady and Manning and whatnot, but the organizations and stuff. So it's going to be an intriguing game, and because it's the only game and it's got great significance, both because the Patriots, if they win, they go back to number 1 seed in the AFC. If they lose, they fall to the 2 seed. And if the Colts win, like I said, they propel themselves, and I think could make a big run going forward.
Let me just make one point about Mac Jones since his name got brought up a bunch here. It's
Well,
amazing
I think it has to.
It's amazing how well he's playing. As far look at his completion percentage. I mean, he's playing a really good quarterback this year, and he's doing it without all that 5-star talent around him.
Well, Joe, if Albert Einstein was my teacher too, I would do a hell of a lot better too than some of the other teachers. So
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And the best one, and you put your.
Let me tell you something, Ted. Let me tell you something. I'll bet you there's people in your class that had the same teachers you did that are a lot smarter than you. So what I mean,
that's not saying much.
No, it's not. But what I mean to say is, just because you have access to a
Joe,
coach,
I will agree with you. But here's the thing: you and me, you could teach your son, you could teach Trevor something. The ability to process the information and then take it and execute it on the field is a whole nother level. Some people,
and that's why Mac Jones, is succeeding.
And that's part of the reason when we talked about other quarterbacks like Daniel Jones. Why do some quarterbacks just get it, and why don't other quarterbacks? It just doesn't come to them because they're not able to take the information on the chalkboard and process it to the field.
I'm glad you said that because everybody likes to say, "Oh, well, he's got Belichick, he's fine." Well, some players, guess what? You still have to be able to process all that information.
If you're coachable enough and smart enough that, first of all, Saban and Belichick want you around them, it speaks to your character immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, and I've said this a few times this week. Mac Jones in that 2 for 3 for 19-yard game, he certainly could have called an audible or two. He could have thrown the ball a few more times. And I think a more selfish, undisciplined, dumber quarterback would have found reasons to try to throw the ball more, despite watching what Josh Allen was doing on the other side and seeing the difficulty with which that would have accompanied. Now, the game of the week, by the way, is the Packers and the Ravens. And we didn't want to include that in this group of the 7 and 6s, and I understand that. But to me, possibly all three of those teams could have the same record as the Ravens, who are 8 and 5, would be 8 and 6. They have to beat the Green Bay Packers.
But it looks like Lamar might not play too.
It looks like Lamar might not play. Here's some good news though: the Packers are 10 and 3. They're 4 and 3 on the road. The Ravens are 5 and.
They're home or away.
It's the game's in Baltimore.
The game's at Baltimore, bro.
Game's at Baltimore.
Because they're home next week against Cleveland.
Yeah, that's their saving grace. I mean, the Ravens are 5 and 1 at home, so you've got the Packers where you want them, but without Lamar, dude, they're about to drop to 8 and 6. This team 4 weeks ago, we were talking about them being maybe the top seed in the AFC. Again, now you're talking about this team could eventually slide into a wild card situation, and I don't love them on the road. At all.
And
the
Packers get their left tackle back. Bakhtiari comes back this way, and possible Zaire Alexander, their best cornerback. So that also works really well for a team that's the best team right now in football.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be a hell of a weekend of football starting tomorrow. We'll see if COVID impacts any more games. The breaking news: Washington football. Yeah, it probably will. I won't.
It probably will, but
Washington football. So breaking news: Washington football team against the Philadelphia Eagles will be played now on Tuesday, and the Browns game, which was scheduled for tomorrow, will be played on Monday. And they got a short week because they play on Saturday night again next week. The Browns, so they got a very short week.
I wouldn't have watched that game if it didn't get moved to Tuesday. So do you see how the NFL wins again?
Because they get Joe Aguirre to watch the game.
But they're going to get a lot more than me. They're going to get a huge national
audience
for that game.
Because I want to see how the Raiders – I want to see Derek Carr because, hey.
Listen, that's not what listen, what I meant to say was that if that game would have aired across we wouldn't have seen it. But now they have the opportunity, like you said, Ted, they can run a game every night on national TV. And charge national sponsor money with no game against it.
And kids are all off from school coming up.
Beautiful. Money in the pocket.
And here's the thing. What are you competing with on a Tuesday night television show?
Right on. Listen, put it like this. If you're one of those fans who hates the players and you love the owners and you think the owners can do no wrong, you've got to be thrilled with them right now. That all these players could be suffering at home with aches and pains and vomiting and whatever. And these guys are bringing in Kyle Lauletta to fill out rosters, and they're just Just the money. Merry Christmas to me.
Speaking of Merry Christmas, we will be back next Wednesday for our Christmas annual show. We will be giving our top 10 lists of power rankings. Plus, we're going to be doing our top 5 Christmas movies. And that's when we'll be back. So I hope everybody enjoys this entertaining football week. In college football bowl games start today. We got games going on tomorrow. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. For all us football fans, it's go time. We got a lot of football going on. I can't wait. We'll see what happens. Hopefully no more games get canceled or postponed. But we'll be back next Wednesday to talk all of Week 15 and our Christmas list. Everybody, Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.